The evening wind was soft, but the whisper that moved through the street was not. Promise stood by the mango tree with her school bag still on her shoulder, listening to the market bell ring far away. She used to love that sound. Lately, it felt like a hand closing a door. Promise. Race you to the gate. Eli shouted, already sprinting. Goodness and Favor laughed and chased after him, their slippers flapping like little drums on the sand. Faith, taller and quieter, watched them with the watchful eyes of someone who noticed what others did not. Oliver trotted in last, a football tucked under his arm, cheeks shining with sweat and mischief. Mummy Faith wiped her hands on her wrapper as she stepped out, balancing a basket of tomatoes. Children, I have to run to the evening market. Daddy Goodluck will return late from the council meeting. Faith, my daughter, help me keep an eye on everyone till I'm back. Faith nodded. Yes, Mama. Just then James walked past the gate, that familiar easy smile on his face. He was the kind of neighbor every child knew, always with sweets, always with stories, always with time. People called him Uncle, though he was not related to many. He greeted loudly, his voice filling the yard like it owned the air. Children. Who wants a story? James jingled a set of keys and looked at the house with the blue door he rented at the corner. I have a new toy inside. Come and see. Favor's eyes lit up. Goodness clapped. Eli jumped and almost dropped the football. Promise's smile trembled. Faith's hand went still on the basket. Mummy Faith's brow eased. Ah, James, you have come. Please help me watch them small while I run to the market. James smiled wider. Sister, leave them to me. You know me. He reached for Eli's shoulder as if to make a promise of safety. Faith swallowed. She wanted to say something, anything, but the words hid behind her teeth. Mummy Faith, trusting the friendly face she had known for years, kissed Faith's forehead and hurried off. As the dust of her steps settled, the compound grew quieter than it should have. Uncle, can we play outside? Oliver asked, passing the football from hand to hand. Outside is hot, James said lightly. Let's go inside and see the toy. I will show Promise first, then Favor, then the rest. Faith took a step forward. We can all go together. James laughed. Ah, big girl Faith, you know small children like attention. Let me show them one by one, no noise, no fighting. Promise pressed her fingers into her palm until her nails made moons. The blue door stared at her like a secret. Faith's stomach tightened. On the wall by the kitchen, a shadow of a bird moved. It looked like a warning drawn by the evening light. Promise, Faith said gently, help me shell the beans first. Please. James turned, still smiling, but his eyes flickered. Don't worry, she will come right back. Promise looked at Faith, then at the blue door, then at the ground. I will be quick, she murmured. James's keys chimed again. Faith's heartbeat began to count time. That night, when the generator hummed and the sky wore its blanket of stars, Faith lay awake. She thought of small things that used to be big, the way Promise had stopped dancing whenever a certain voice called, the way Favor's laughter sometimes broke in the middle and fell to the floor like a cup. She remembered how James always said, don't tell anyone, it's just our little secret, when he gave a child a sweet and sent the others away. Secrets. Good ones are like lanterns. Bad ones are like closed doors. Faith turned her face to the wall and prayed with her eyes open. God, give me the right words. Help me do the right thing. Morning came with boiled yam and the smell of soap. Mummy Faith sang as she swept, a tune about new days and clean hearts. Daddy Goodluck adjusted his tie and kissed the top of Eli's head. Promise, Daddy said, you will lead morning chores today. You are growing tall. Promise smiled, but it was the kind of smile you draw when your pencil is almost finished. After breakfast, Faith asked Promise to bring water from the well with her. At the corner by the hibiscus bushes, Faith stopped and faced her. Sister, Faith said softly, when a door is closed and you don't feel safe, you can always say no. Even to someone who smiles in front of others. Promise's eyes filled quickly, like a basin under a tap. If I say no and he tells me I am rude? You are not rude for protecting yourself. You are brave, Faith whispered. If anyone asks you to keep a heavy secret, one that feels like a stone in your chest, bring it to me. Bring it to Mama. We will carry it together. It will become light. Promise's breath shook. She did not yet give words to the stone, but she reached for Faith's hand and held it as if she could pour courage from her sister's palm. Days passed. The small town moved like a long song, school, market, chores, church, laughter. But there were ripples. Oliver began waiting for the younger ones at the gate after school, pretending it was for football, but really counting heads with his eyes. Goodness and Favor started a game called 2 by 2, where no one walked alone if an adult they didn't fully trust was nearby. Eli didn't understand everything, but he understood this: if Faith says come, I come. If Promise says wait, I wait. James noticed the ripples too. His smile came faster, his voice sweeter. Children, come and help me carry a parcel. It is heavy. He would say it lightly, but his eyes would land on the smallest girls like hands. On a Wednesday afternoon, when the clouds hung low as if the sky itself was thinking, James found Promise alone by the mango tree. Eli had run to fetch a book from the house. Faith was at the gate, arguing gently with the goat that liked to eat laundry. Promise, James said, come quickly. I found a little kitten inside my room. You like kittens, yes? Promise froze. The blue door stood waiting like a mouth. Her throat felt dry. Come, James coaxed. And don't tell anyone, the kitten will run away if there is noise. Promise remembered Faith's words, the ones about stones and secrets. She took a step back. I will call Faith, she said, voice small but steady. James laughed. No need. It will be quick. Promise swallowed. We don't do closed doors anymore, she said. Faith said so. Mama said so. A beat of silence followed. Then James's smile faltered. Don't be stubborn, he said, softly, almost like a hiss. Eli's voice came from behind. Promise. Coach is asking for the ball. He ran up, then paused, looking from Promise to James to the blue door. Faith appeared at the gate, a bucket on her hip. She didn't say a word. She just stood and looked at James. In that look were 1,000 unsaid things. I see you. I see the pattern. It ends today. James chuckled, backing away as if it were all a game. Children these days, he said. No respect. He dropped his gaze and left, but his shadow lingered like a stain. Faith set down the bucket and drew Promise and Eli to her side. Any time someone tries to take you behind a closed door, she said, you remember our words, cut it off. Cut what off? Eli asked. The visit. The conversation. The chance, Faith answered. You walk away. You find me. You find Mama. You cut it off. Promise nodded, and something loosened in her chest. The next Sunday, the church bell rang and the town gathered like a river gathers drops. After the service, Mummy Faith asked the women to stay for a short talk. She had been practicing her words all morning, rubbing them between her hands like beads. My sisters, she began, voice steady, we all love our children. We trust neighbors, we trust friends, we trust faces we have seen for years. But trust must be guarded. Not every hand that offers help is safe. Not every smile speaks the truth. Murmurs swept across the room like wind in tall grass. Mummy Faith continued, if a grown person asks your child to keep a secret from you, that secret is not safe. If someone calls a child alone behind closed doors often, that door is not safe. If your child returns from a visit quieter than usual, watch it. Ask gently. Listen fully. She lifted her chin. From today, in my house, no closed doors with children and adults who are not immediate family. In my street, no running errands alone to people's rooms. In my heart, I will believe my child the first time. The elder women nodded. Mothers squeezed their daughters' hands. Outside, under the almond tree, Daddy Goodluck spoke to the men. To protect a community, we guard the gates and the rooms, he said. We don't pretend not to see. If you notice a pattern that puts children at risk, speak. If your brother's actions are not right, stop him. Silence is not wisdom, it is permission. Oliver, who had been juggling the football for Eli, heard this and stood taller. He looked around and saw the faces of men he had always admired. He wondered if they, too, would be brave enough to see and say. A few days later, the afternoon heat rolled in like a blanket. Promise carried a bowl of Gary to the backyard to dry it in the sun. From the corner of her eye, she saw James by the blue door. He was speaking softly to Favor, pointing in a way that made the air feel tight. Promise didn't think. She moved. Favor, she called, voice bright as if she carried a joke. Come and help me. Mama said together is faster. Favor turned, hesitating. James's smile stiffened. She can help me first, he said, too quickly. Cut it off, Promise said calmly, placing herself between Favor and the blue door. We don't do closed doors. Favor blinked, then nodded. We don't do closed doors, she repeated, strength rising in her voice like a tide. Faith stepped out from the kitchen with Mummy Faith beside her. Daddy Goodluck walked through the gate with Oliver. The family formed a circle without discussing it, the way people who love each other learn to stand close when wind threatens. Mummy Faith faced James, her voice still and strong. From today, you do not call our children into your room. You do not keep them behind closed doors. You do not ask them for secrets. If you need help, you ask us, open place, open eyes. She held his gaze. Do you understand? James's laugh sounded like a match that wouldn't light. You are all overreacting, he said. I am only friendly. Friendship does not fear open doors, Daddy Goodluck replied. Friendship does not hide. The neighbors had begun to gather quietly along the wall, drawn by the sound of voices that didn't shake but did not bend. An elder from the next compound, Mama Rose, stepped forward. I have noticed things too, she said. I did not speak soon enough. I speak now. Children are not leaves for anyone to pluck. James's face closed like a fist. He looked from face to face and saw no door to slip through. In that moment, the power he had used, the soft voice, the sweets, the keys to the blue door, fell away like bad cloth. It no longer fit. Leave, Mummy Faith said, her voice quiet. We have reported our concerns properly. She nodded toward the street, where two community leaders stood with a local welfare officer. There would be formal steps, responsible, lawful, protective. There would be no more shadows. James looked once more at the blue door, then turned and walked. The sun lay heavy on his back. The keys were silent. The days that followed moved like healing water over a bruise. There were conversations that hurt to have but felt good once spoken. Mummy Faith sat with Promise and Favor and Goodness, and they put words to the heavy things, unsafe touch, unsafe talk, unsafe secrets. They said the words softly, carefully, like people handling glass, and then they put them down and folded love around the girls instead. Daddy Goodluck started something new on the street, the open door hour. Every evening, parents left front doors open while children played, so anyone could see anyone. The men took turns watching from the edge of the field, not as guards with sticks but as fathers with eyes. Oliver and the older boys formed the Sunlight Club. They learned to say, "Are you okay? Do you want to walk together, and no one will laugh at you for speaking up?" They learned that bravery looks like staying, like listening, like believing. Faith wrote 3 sentences on a piece of cardboard and pinned it above the kitchen shelf. We believe our children. No closed doors. Cut it off, the visit, the chance, the silence. Promise began to dance again. It started small, her toes tapping to the radio while she washed plates. It grew to where she would spin in the yard with Favor, their skirts making small circles of joy. One afternoon, as the rain played a drumbeat on the roof, Promise laughed so loud the mango tree seemed to laugh back. The sound surprised her. It had been a long time. Your laugh is back, Faith said, smiling. I thought it went away, Promise whispered. It didn't go, Faith replied. It was resting, waiting for safe air. News of the family stand traveled beyond their street. In the school, teachers started every Monday with a safety rhyme. In the market, women began to say, "Are you leaving your children? Leave them where the door is open. If the door must close, let it be your own." In church, the pastor spoke without shame, "Protecting children is not gossip. It is love." The elders formed a council that mapped out clear steps: report, document, support. No noise without action, no action without care. One evening, when the sun sank like a ripe orange and the air turned soft, Promise sat with Mummy Faith on the steps. "Mama," she said, "I am strong now. But sometimes I still feel small." Mummy Faith wrapped an arm around her. "Even big trees feel the wind, my child. When you feel small, lean on us. Strength is not standing alone, it is knowing where to hold." Promise leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. "Mama?" "Yes?" "Can we tell this story to others? Not with heavy words, but the way children understand. So they will not be afraid to talk. So parents will not be afraid to listen." Mummy Faith kissed her hair. "We will tell it," she said. "We will tell it like the moon tells the night, soft, steady, and everywhere." Months passed. The blue door stayed closed, but for different reasons now. New tenants came. They were a young couple with a baby on the way. The street blessed them with smiles and rules: watch the children, ask questions, keep the doors open. Daddy Goodluck brought home a small drum and gave it to Eli. "Beat this when we gather," he said. "Let it be our reminder." Eli learned a rhythm that was new and old at the same time: 3 beats for truth, 2 for courage, 1 for love. The rhythm traveled. It was in the way Faith spoke to her friends when they whispered about worries. It was in the way Oliver asked boys twice his size to be gentle. It was in the way Goodness and Favor held each other's hands crossing the road. It was in Promise's dance, which had returned to her like a bird that knows its home. One night, the family sat under the mango tree. Fireflies wrote tiny light letters in the air. Daddy Goodluck cleared his throat. "There is a sentence I want us to keep," he said. "We will make it our proverb." He looked at each face: Mummy Faith's steadiness, Faith's quiet fire, Promise's bright eyes, Goodness's soft grin, Favor's brave chin, Eli's eager hands, Oliver's watchful calm. He said it slowly, like planting a seed: be careful of who you leave your younger ones with, especially the girls. If something feels wrong, cut it off. Cut off the visit, cut off the chance, cut off the silence. They repeated it together, voices weaving into a rope that could pull anyone to safety. From that night, the street slept lighter. Not because danger never came near, but because people had learned to see, to say, to stand. And when the market bell rang again in the distance, it sounded once more like it used to, like home, like morning, like a door opening to a room full of light.